What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is another rant video, as I'm getting quite fond of doing these and they seem to be pretty popular as well. So I thought I'd get into the class identity, and to be honest, they need to tread lightly. So this is what the video is about, and I'll get into it. It's about all the classes, to be honest. Obviously, with the changes to the shadowy disguise recently, this has sort of sparked a lot of interest about changing things that are sort of like the heart and soul of the class, of all the classes. So I've made a little list, and we'll get into it, and we'll sort of go through one by one and what I mean by all this. So it's just a little rant and just a little explanation, and hopefully, Zos will see this and obviously tread a bit more carefully. So we'll get into it. So what we have here is basically all the 7 classes in the game that are listed. So we've got the Nightblade, Sorcerer, Dragon Knight, Warden, Templar, Arcanist, and the Necromancer. So the class identity is basically what everyone associates that particular class with. When you think of that class, you think of this skill. This is just my personal opinion. Hopefully it's sort of the general opinion as well. I've picked 2 skills from each class, and this is sort of like the heart and soul of the class. So like I said, when you play that class or you think of that class, these are the sort of skills that you would bring to mind. So they are sort of like the bread and butter of these classes. And so these skills, in my opinion, if they do mess with them and change them, whatever, these are the ones they need to be careful with and not do aggressive changes to, because some players don't play every class. They just play one class, and it's their class. It's how they like to play, how they like to operate. And when you do a massive change to a skill that is the heart and soul of the class, it can cause big waves within the community. And this is what I think they always seem to get wrong. So we'll start off with I've started with the obvious, which is the latest change with the Nightblade. I've put Shadowy Disguise and Spec Bow as sort of the go-to, the heart and soul of that class. So which is Cloak, and obviously the nasty Spec Bow that everyone throws with a gank or in a really nasty proc Nightblade PvP build. With these 2 skills, you got to be careful. Like, you don't want to do aggressive changes. So like with Shadowy Disguise, I think it should have had a ramping cost, not a toggle ability, but that could change anyway. It's only on the PTS, so things could change. Same with the Spec Bow. If they changed that aggressively and made it that you no longer get the weapon damage scaling, it's going to upset the Nightblades. And this is not, I don't think, the right direction to go, but I'll explain the thing at the end about what direction they should go and how they should deal with things a little bit better. Again, with the Sorcerer, I feel like the Streak is what it's known for, the Hardened Ward, very, very powerful skills. That's what you think of, and that's what comes to mind when you're fighting against Sorcerers in PvP. And then we've got the Dragon Knight, the Whip, and the Leap. I do feel they're sort of like the ones that are the most commonly thought of when you're playing as a Dragon Knight or fighting against one. And then we've got the Warden with the Polar Wind and the Sub Assault. I would say, again, they're sort of like the go-tos in PvP. A lot of players will use them, and you'll see them. Templar is the Jabs and the Radiant Oppression. So again, with the Templar, they did fiddle with the Jabs, the animation, which caused a lot of controversy, unnecessary as well, and I just think it's not a great direction. But we'll move on to the Arcanist. The Arc Shield has been gutted in the latest patch as well. The Beam has also been nerfed a little bit, still fairly strong, but these are the ones that I would think of. And the Necromancer, the Blast Bones, which was tampered with, and again I've just put the Colossus because I couldn't think of another go-to Necromancer skill. So in a nutshell, we'll just quickly go over a couple of them. So we've done the Shadowy Disguise. The Streak has a ramping cost, which I think is correct. But if they then change that to a toggle or something weird, it's going to upset the sorcerers. And with the hardened ward, it did have a heal, which is a little bit overpowered. But again, the sorcerers were suffering at that point, but now they're not. The leap is really strong. If they doubled the cost of that, that's going to aggravate people, because the leap is one of the best ultimates in the game. Definitely one of my favourites as well. If they just suddenly doubled the cost in that, that's going to really upset Dragon Knights. The Polar Wind scales off max health. If they scaled it off max magicka and removed the max health, all the Warden healers are going to be crying out. With the Templar, like I said, the jabs, they changed the animation. I don't know why. I think it was better before. That was a couple of years ago, I think. And they changed it, and it upsets the Templars. With the Arcanist, the Arc Shield has now been halved. It was a very strong shield, to be fair, though. But again, a very aggressive, I think it's like 56% nerf. So it upsets the Arcanists. And then the Necromancer was the Blast Bones, which I feel was like the go-to skill everyone used, everyone loved. Was clunky, but again, it's just sort of like the heart and soul of it. And again, they gutted it, changed it. It was it would then jump towards you and empower you rather than deal damage and attack someone. So really what I'm saying is that the class is itself. These are, like, to me, the main skills. And if they are I'm not saying don't ever change these can never be touched. They can be touched, but I feel that they should be adjusted very carefully and with minor tweaks. So, like, we'll push that up a little bit, or we'll do this a little bit, and don't do aggressive changes, because if you do aggressive changes to one class, you risk losing a lot of players in the PvP community, which is not really what we want, because at the moment the PvP community is not huge. It's definitely a smaller portion of the game. Unfortunately, it's not a clean 50-50. And, to be honest, if you aggressively gut something, like the whole ganking community on the Nightblades is now upset with a shadowy disguise, or the majority, and, ganking is a large portion of the community. So if you then gut something and it becomes completely unusable, we're not sure yet, because obviously it's still on the PTS and could be changed and fiddled with, but if you gut something so aggressively, you risk losing potentially, there's 7 classes, so it could be almost 10 to 15% of the player base. Because not everyone's a try-hard and super powerful and super sweaty. That's a small minority of the PvP community. A lot of the PvP community are just casual players that just want to kill people here and there. And like moving on to, say, the Sorcerer. Again, if the street was tampered with and they tripled the cost, you ain't going to see Sorcerers. The Dragon Knights, if they remove, double the cost to leap. So as you can see, you get what I'm coming from, that these things should just be altered slightly. And if there is a massive backlash, or at least even a fairly large backlash, then they should rethink. And that's what the PTS is for. It's for testing. And hopefully they'll make some alterations to some of the stuff. But the jabs never got an alteration. They changed it and left it at that animation. Upset a lot of people. So hopefully moving forward, ZOS, when they make changes or adjustments or attempt to make changes on the PTS, hopefully, like I said, they will see this, or they would take note of other people's voices and just, make slight changes here and there and just see how it pans out, rather than just doing a massive jump in, super aggressive change and upsetting players. Because like I said, some players just play that one class. Maybe that's not the ideal thing to do, but some players do. I play every class, but there is some players that just might be just PvP casuals. They just play Nightblade, or they just play Arcanist. And like I said, to aggressively gut one of the main skills in the class that is identifiable for that class is dangerous. It's dangerous for the population as a whole. So, don't make aggressive changes, because we could risk losing players, and that's not what we want. We don't just want to end up with just S-tier sorcerers destroying battlegrounds, or Dragon Knight Turtles just dominating because everything has been gutted and all the Templars have left because the Jabs has been destroyed, or all the Nightblades have left because all the Ganking's been destroyed. And, you know, slowly but surely they're just going to eat away at the player base, and this is not the right thing to do moving forward. Moving forward would be to make slight alterations and just see how it goes and not do things so aggressively. Yes, the Cloak was overpowered. Yes, the Hardened Ward's overpowered. All the classes have overpowered skills that need adjusting, but little changes, not big ones, because it just sends shockwaves, upsets people, and like I said, a lot of players I've seen in the comments, they want to quit, and I just, you know, I'm saying to them, just hold on. Hopefully there'll be some less aggressive changes, because we want to gain players, not lose them. So destroying an entire play style is not a good way to go. I can't stand Warden healers that are 70k health, but I don't want them to go. I still want them in the game. They just need to be changed. And that's just an example I'm using anyway. I'm not just gunning for Wardens. But yeah, so let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. Class identity, tread lightly. So give this video a like, guys. Like I said, any comments, drop in the comment section and I'll get back to you. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I do lots of builds and guides, and I'll see you in the next video.